Yeah, so certain topics that I wanted to cover, like responsibilities, and basically, I mentioned the systems that you may be aware of at certain times. Here's the thing. Like I said in my previous video, there's systems that you become aware of, based on the choices and actions that you've taken. It's going to manifest in your body as like a disease, but it happens the same way outside of you. See, outside, like for example, if you eat garbage, your digestive system is going to manifest itself in a certain way to you. It's going to give you discomfort and dis-ease. The same way with your joints, your lymphatic system, your central nervous system, your, and you have all these systems, okay? All these systems and you have systems outside also, okay? And these systems may manifest themselves to you the same way a dis-ease manifests in your body the same way. So this is why, your world may look like hell to you, and it may look like heaven to me. You know what I mean? And this is because of the way you're perceiving it, but also the systems of oppression, for example, the systems of hatred and anger, and all these systems outside of you that are unfavorable to you, they manifest in a way because of the choices and actions you're taking and your mind state. See, the mind is everything. Okay, the universe is mental, and this is why everything that you perceive outside of you is coming from you. Okay, so what do you do when you have a dis-ease? You take some changes, but you see, this is the thing. We do things we take medication and we go to a doctor, right? We entertain this pain even more, right? When in actuality, this is an opportunity for you to be even stronger. Okay, like I mentioned in my last video. I fasted for a while, and then I decided to eat garbage just to see a big difference, because when you get off the stimulants and then you go back on the stimulants, you feel the stimulants even more, just like alcohol. You get off alcohol for a while and you start you could become tolerant, but then when you go and drink alcohol, right, again, after not drinking for a while, you'll get drunk a lot faster. It's the same thing with milk. You could be tolerant to lactose, but then you get off lactose for a while and then you become lactose intolerant. And it's the same thing with coffee, caffeine, same thing, right? So I got off, I fasted for a while, and I went back to eating a certain way, but worse. And I did it on purpose, right? And these are experiments because I want to see the experience, and I want to know if it's affecting my spirituality, right? But it did nothing as far as to, what I did feel was I yawned. So what does that mean? I'm yawning. That means that I'm robbing my body of energy. But I also felt hungover when I woke up. Now, when I'm fasted and I'm clean, I notice I spring out of bed. I'm not that tired. I don't need to sleep that much. I notice I sleep less. But the reason why you sleep less is because your body doesn't have to really work on repairing anything while you sleep or detoxifying anything out of your body. You see, a lot of people always, because I work with the nutrition industry right now, and people are asking me, why do I always feel so tired? Why do I always feel like I can't get up in the morning? And here's the thing, it's the same way when an animal is injured or sick, what do? They always want to sleep and they don't eat. And the reason for that is because they want to heal, they want to repair. See, the thing is that your body is always trying to repair itself. And the fact that we keep on damaging it with the foods we're eating, it's going to require to want to sleep more. And this is why you feel like you want to sleep. But it can also be spiritually, where if you're having upgrades or stuff like that, or, you feeling like you're ascending or leveling up to somehow, that may make you feel like you need to take a break also, because you're going to have energies running through your body the same way. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different meanings to, but this is the part of really knowing yourself. You know what I mean? I can't tell you how you feel, but you got to sit back and really see. Here's the thing too. I'm very, very big on everything outside of you and how it reflects back to what it is that you are putting out. And it's not going to always be directly in the exact same thing, but it's going to be something that will kind of give it a similar meaning to why it is that you're at the state of being that you're in right now. But a lot of people don't sit back to reflect. This is why I say, let me sit back and reflect on that. But that's why, it's because you got to sit back, and sometimes you got to reflect and really just sit down and clear your mind, and you're going to be able to see why it is that things outside of you manifest in your reality here the way they do. It's because you're putting out something to some extent that's projecting something out that's going to reflect something back to you. Okay? That's just, I've noticed that this is how it works. There's things, and if you really sit down and really have that practice in mind, you will never be in a victim mode because you know that you need to take responsibility for your actions. Now, speaking of responsibilities, you see, this game is pretty funny and tricky because there's moments in time that it's going to test you and it's going to put you in states where it's going to drive you pretty insane. And the reason I say this is this. Now, let's say, for example, because I've always been in a position of power in my life. I've always been a strong head. I've always been a leader. I've always been a manager. I've always had jobs that I've always made a lot of money. I've always been very good with money. I'm not going to lie. I've always been very good with money my entire life until, recently, where money is not coming to me the exact same way it was before. But here's the problem, though. When you start going through changes mentally and you start to see things, the system for what it is, your beliefs and all that is going to start to change along with it. When you start to change your beliefs about things, your reality is going to start to change, because what forms your reality are the beliefs that you have towards certain things. And this is the actions that you take. Now, I started to see the system a different way. I started to see money a totally different way, where I didn't see my attention and focus wasn't on money anymore, but in other things, where it started to manifest in ways where my passion wasn't even going toward the jobs that I've had anymore, which actually put me in a frequency match to manifest a different reality. You get what I'm saying? But then again, if you're still attached to those things, the moment you transition, you're going to feel like you're in lack. When in actuality, you should feel like you're not in lack. You're either in the same state or maybe in a more abundant state now that you have more of what really should mean to you than actual physical money. You get what I'm saying? And this is the problem that I had. I started to get a little bit depressed because I wasn't making the same amount of money. And this could happen to people who, let's say, because this is why you need to live in your now and not really attach shackles to you. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, let's say, for example, you go and you buy an expensive ass fucking car. The car costs like $120,000. Now you got to pay that car off, right? But what are you dependent on? You're dependent on your job to make sure that you're always having that income coming in to pay off that car, to pay off your mortgage, to pay off everything, right? See, now if somebody who's in a different mind state where they say, they don't really care about those values so much, because here's the thing though. Rich people don't even really do shit like this unless they have the capital in their bank to really back it up somehow. But you see, poor people, that's why you see rich people, they don't flash so much, expensive clothing or so much flashy shit like a poor person. A poor person will probably flash more because it's a sign of insecurity. It's a sign like they want to show so much of what they, of something they don't have. You get what I'm saying? So I've noticed that poor people will spend a hell of a lot more, not even having the backup in the bank account. Now, a rich person knows and they may invest their money a lot more wisely, where they're going to continue to have this cash flow coming in because they created a currency. You see, a poor person will depend on their job to keep paying off their car, right? But let's say, for example, somebody goes through an experience where they start to see reality a different way. Now what happens, right? Now you still got to take care of that responsibility of paying off that car. But you may have kids now, right? Because now forget the property. Now what about kids? You have kids. Now they say, oh, this life is an illusion and, and stuff like that. We might fall into that. And I almost fell into that victim mentality where I'm like, this is bullshit. The system, you got to go work and all this and that. Fine. Give me a second. And everything starts with a thought. Before you got a car, you thought of, I need to go buy a car. Before you you go and have a kid, you think it starts with a thought. You have a child, right? But these are responsibilities that you have to take care of. You see, everything you do, this is why they say responsibilities is your ability to respond to certain things that you do. So let's say, for example, if my experiences that I'm going through now would have came a lot earlier, I most likely would not have had what I have now, meaning like a family or anything like that, but because they're distractions, okay? But at the position that I am in now, I wouldn't change it. Now I'm in appreciation for the fact that I have it. It is teaching me a lot of what I need to learn in my now moment. But do you see how certain things have to happen unconsciously? All right? Because if I would have known back then, I probably would have, I don't want kids, man. I'm going to have time to myself. But how would I have evolved? You see, there's certain things that have been putting me in uncomfortable situations to actually have to help me evolve. And I've actually had, see, I don't believe in jobs. But I've had to go and work. I have to take care of responsibilities, right? And I've humbled my positions a lot lower than what I used to have. See, I used to make over $120,000 a year, right? And I've humbled myself way lower. But why? Because if I put myself in those higher positions, my time has to go toward being responsible for a company that I don't give a fuck about in the way that I should be giving a fuck about it if I wasn't in the mind state that I'm at now. So it's a weird situation. You know what I'm saying? Now, the positions that you're in, whatever you're doing, you're supposed to like what you do. Now, I'm working in the nutrition field. I'm still working with GNC now, but I'm not working in a management role anymore. Now I'm working in a regular role, you know what I mean? And I'm working part-time. But I also put myself in a certain situation where my bills aren't as high as they were before. You see, in New York, I mean, what are the advantages of living in New York? You get what I'm saying? The city that never sleeps. You got access to a lot more things. But then again, your time has to go toward those things. Right? So I've noticed that when I was because there was a moment while I was working with cars, it robbed so much of my attention that the steps that I felt like I took forward in my evolution, when I came back to it, I felt like I took steps backwards. Because here's the thing, it's kind of like if you're watching a movie and then you're in a certain pace, you're in a role, you're watching it, and then all of a sudden you got to stop from watching the movie because something came up, so you got to go and do other things. Then when you come back, you got to remember at what place in the movie you were in, so you got to kind of like catch up again and be like, oh yeah, that's this, you know what I mean? So you got to catch up. So you learn so much in this path that you feel like you take these steps backwards. But you see, it's not all about the learning outside of you. It's more like the learning within you, because these things outside of you are the guides, and then you go within to really start to get this inner knowing, and then you start to evolve your consciousness. But your consciousness you go into a de-evolvement, and that happens based on what you involve yourself in. If you look at the word evolve, revolve, right? So you got the word revolve, evolve, involve, right? Involve, because I involve myself. So if I involve myself in a job I have to be there for 10 hours and I'm working 50 hours a week, and then outside of my job, I got to promote myself to make sure that I can get more clients to even make more money in my position. All that time is going toward that business and not my business, right? So you see, abundance to you is not abundance to me anymore. See, abundance where I had a lot of money, and I remember I would have so much money, I would forget I had stacks of money in my closet, because I made cash. I always made a lot of cash. And I would sometimes go change my clothes. I forget I had $3,000 in my closet. And this is real talk. You know what I mean? And I was enjoying those moments. I was like, I felt empowered. But then there's certain, and it could change certain, this is why I say energy can change you, power can change you, right? Money changes people. So let's say if you acquire certain amount of spiritual energy, and now you have certain power, you got certain skills where you can you enhance certain psychic abilities. That people, you can actually go and do this to be a service to people, right? Because now you know something and you want to help fellow man. But you see, everybody says, because for you to empower anybody else, you have to empower yourself first, right? You can't give if you don't have. So this is why, if you acquire certain skills, certain powers, let's say, right? Certain people will stay so in their ego, and they'll be like, I am this, I am that. And it's like, these people that are outside of you are extensions of you, but they are part of your system. Because if you look at this, they have a digestive system just like you. They have a circulatory system just like you. They have a skeletal system just like you, a lymphatic system just like you. You see what I'm saying? Like, all these systems are in common, right? But these people want to only associate themselves with, this associate. And this is the thing, though. These are systems in common. The systems outside of you, like government system, all these systems outside, the education system, all these things outside of you are not systems that are in common with you, but they're systems that you can use to your advantage, right? And I hope I'm making myself clear. But, you know, for example, notice how when you fight, I saw one little 1.5-minute video by Dennis Eggleston. He says that the number one killer, the quickest manifester, the number one killer is literally being in a fight with your loved ones, is being in a fight with your partner, somebody in your life that you're holding a grudge or anger against. Matter of fact, I'll pull that video up real quickly, okay? Because I think it's brilliant, man, and I think it's brilliant, and it's the truth, because this is actually what will kill you a lot faster than anything else. Where the hell did he put this video? Okay. The single unseen killer which will sneak up on you. This is a 17-second video. So I'm going to play this video so you can listen to this, okay?
The biggest cause of disease, fighting and conflict with your loved ones or significant other for prolonged periods. The single most unseen killer.
That's it. 17 seconds. He put this video out. But, you know, some people talk for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and they say a whole lot of nothing. 17 seconds. And that was power. But, you know, I'm noticing that when you're at a certain frequency and level, things start manifesting themselves right away to you. You see, that popped up at a perfect moment in time, okay, that it resonates with me, and I'm able to share a message out to you. You get what I'm saying? So that was powerful. Fighting with your loved ones. But why? These systems are in common. Okay? This is why the saying, when you empower others, you empower yourself. It's the truth. But when you're empowering, let's say, a company, right, that's only giving you paper, right? And maybe a little, you know, let me get an employee of the month. They give you a little badge. That's it. What does it bring? It brings sicknesses, sometimes divorces, because sometimes people put so much more time into their business than they do into their family. Okay? And regardless of like the positions that you and your loved one is on, you two may be in different levels. You're still learning from each other, and you're still in each other's lives because you're at frequency matched to that person. Now, you don't have to work so hard, because if it's meant to be, it'll be. If it's not meant to be, then you won't be. It's just the way it works. You don't have to do too much, because it starts from you. If you're evolving to a certain state and this person is still in your life, it's because they need to be in your life. They're teaching you something. If this person is not there anymore, it's because that's the way it was meant to be. And some people get depressed and they want to hold on to that person. And they continue to hold on to that person through conflict and drama and all that. And in reality, all you're doing is creating more resistance when you should just allow things to be. And I've had certain dreams that have been giving me messages. What's funny is that, and I'll make this in another video because it'll be too long, but certain dreams have told me, let go of certain things to allow other things in. You know what I mean? And it won't tell me directly like that. I've had to decipher and decode certain things. Okay? But what do you hold of value to you? You see, you need money here. I'm not telling you that money is shit. No, everybody agrees to the fact that we have to use money to exchange, to acquire certain things. Okay, cool. But it's just a tool, right? So where does all your energy, where is it going on a daily basis though? Do you really need the $120,000 car? Who are you impressing? You get what I'm saying? Do you really need the huge ass house? Right? You're creating more responsibilities for yourself. But if you're in the mind state where that's what's of value to you, then that's of value to you. You see, it's working. So then if it's working for you, it's working for you. You see, me, for example, I already put myself in that mentality where I said to myself, do I really need an expensive car? Do I really need a really, really big house? You get what I'm saying? I'd rather use my money to just have some type of financial freedom so that I can have time for myself. Not have to forcefully go to work to slave for physical stuff that I have that really means nothing. Look at Mike Tyson. You seen any of Mike Tyson's interviews? Mike Tyson, he was the fucking man back then. But if you ask him about all the titles he had, all the knockouts he had, all the glory, all the fame he had, he always says, that's shit. That don't mean nothing. He takes his belts and he throws them on the floor. He's like, oh, this is shit. That don't mean nothing. Go look at a few of Mike Tyson's recent interviews. Why? At certain times, certain things, they're not of importance to you because you realize these things don't matter. That's you evolving yourself from this realm, and that's steps in your ascension. When you start to really see that this doesn't really matter, but it's not to, discard it and it doesn't, no. You gotta just have the time of your life doing it. It's your time. But what do you do with your time? That's the whole thing. Because if your time is under somebody else's time for even $40 an hour, is it really worth that time? I don't care if you're making $120,000, $150,000 a year. Is that what your time is worth? Because at the end of the day, you could be seeing that $150,000, $140,000, right? But where has your time gone afterwards, right? You gotta say, this is not something that you can really tell somebody. It's something you could just put out and have somebody. You gotta think about these things for yourself. You get what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people who have problems. This eases, and they want to know what to take for it. But in actuality, it has nothing to do with taking anything. It just has to do with just letting go of a bunch of things and cleaning the house. And you watch how things will just fix themselves. Your body, for example, when you get a fever, right? It's never an uncomfortable feeling, but what do people want to do? They can't handle the pain of a fever or the feelings of a fever, so they take a pill to suppress it. When in actuality, the body is doing something. The fever is a good thing. It's getting rid of an infection. Inflammation is good. That means that there's energy there trying to bring that arthritis down. The inflammation is all the blood rushing to that area. You get what I'm saying? Feelings of discomfort in your digestive tract. Those are the first signs that your body's telling you, hey, I'm trying to clean house here, But what do? You want to take a pill. It's the same thing out here. Certain things may put you in an uncomfortable situation, but it's for a reason. You may lose certain things. It's for a reason. Don't keep adding things on. See, when you have discomfort, fast. Rather than keep trying to put things in. People want to lose weight. What do I take to lose weight? Bitch, stop eating. You know what I'm saying? Clean your stomach. It's not first take a fucking fat burner, because people think that the fat burner is the magic pill, let's say. But it's not the magic pill. Then that's their God. When in actuality, you got to look at that pill as a tool. But you got to align yourself properly with that tool. Meaning exercise, eat correctly. So you're in harmony with the tool that you're using. You get what I'm saying? You're not going to take that and still go and eat Popeyes. So, grudges, let it all go. Hatred, anger, use it to your advantage if need be. But use it when it's necessary. Just know that, you see, you're the one on the driver's seat. You have to just take the wheel. Take the wheel. Drive. This is your journey, not nobody else's journey.